Welcome to the club. We're talking with Trevor Hanselwood from Web Savvy on his mastery around Facebook marketing and how he leverages the superpower of communication and empathy to really kick some marketing ass. See you guys. Welcome to the club, Trevor.
Oh, thank you.
What makes a great digital marketer?
I think, to be honest, a great digital marketer is somebody who's adaptable. And it's actually a conversation we have at the agency quite a lot about, we've had big conversations about like, how do we sell ourselves? Because we're selling a strategy, but we also sell execution. But really, if you are executing and building a strategy here, that's ages ago. You have to have strategy and execute at the same time. Like they're circular, yeah. So that, for me, it's being adaptable and sort of recognizing trends and being creative and jumping on that trend and going, okay, well, can this work for my client? And away you go.
Awesome. And in terms of channels, like obviously you're a great copywriter. You've obviously, is Facebook marketing, is that in advertising, is that your channel, is that your go-to?
That's my jam. That's
your shtick? That's your beat?
Yeah, but to be honest, for me, maybe my jam isn't that, it's messaging, right? Like who needs to know what, when? And Facebook is just the best way to do that because some of the other ones, it's hard to deliver that message to just anybody. With Facebook, you can know who you're targeting, you know what they need to see, and you can give it to them, and you know when they need to see it. So it's really marketing 101.
When obviously there's paid search and there's Facebook, and they're very different.
Yeah.
What's that one thing that is sort of makes that big difference in mindset change between a paid search marketer and a paid Facebook marketer?
I don't know. I think the paid search marketers, to me, seem pretty analytical. Like they're this way, whereas I think a good interruption marketer is a little bit more, I don't want to say more creative because it's not necessarily correct, but they're more, fly by night, I suppose. They're a little bit quicker to test something.
They go with their instinct more?
Yeah, there's a little bit
intuition?
more instinct, a little bit more of like just kind of reading the tea leaves rather than checking the data. Like it's both, like that's important too. Like you can't do one without the other, but you do have to have that, like, oh, let's give this a whirl, let's see what happens. Whereas I think that's a lot harder to pull off on Google.
What's your sort of, your go-to hack? What's your mindset when it comes to, Facebook marketing? Where do you feel you get an edge?
I think I just understand audiences. I think my radio background, like I wrote copy for radio ads for ages. I produced them, and the idea of the audience. I've got a degree in anthropology, so how humans behave together. That's to me. I think maybe that's my advantage. Is I understand audiences. So when a client has a product or a promotion or they have some problem, like so they're something's not. I'm able to solve it by making sure that the right people see it, and I'm able to communicate it in a way that makes sense to them, and they then tell them to act.
Okay. What's your superpower, Trevor?
Oh, which one? I think maybe my superpower is communication. I think, and maybe empathy, and that sounds kind of a little wanky, but I always put myself in the eyes of who I'm targeting. Like I want to speak their language. I want to appeal to their senses. I want to know what they're feeling so that I can talk to it. And you get some data on, and my talk today was a little bit about that. You get data on people, and you know these little facts. We don't know a lot, but use those facts to base some of your conversations to them, okay. and then measure that and report it and make sure it's making ROI.
Yeah. So sort of finding that one thing to say to activate your audience.
Yeah. What's going to take somebody? What's going to push them over the line? Yeah.
Brilliant. Now your talk, getting an ROI on Facebook ads, how I spent more than 10 million on Facebook ads based on 50-year-old advice.
Yeah.
If you were to sum up like the killer, concept that you really wanted to get across, what would that be?
I think it's that. I think the killer concept, and actually it was something you talked about today, is that there's all these little hacks that come along, but really it's the foundation for building long-term business success is just by really understanding how people are moving through your business or if you're advertising for a client or however it works. if you understand where that person is in relation to your business and in relation to the sale, you're able to segment all that stuff out and monetize it and see what's working, what's not. It's sort of building that framework. I think that's a pretty scattered answer, but it's really just making sure you understand all those audiences and making sure you know what metrics you're measuring for each one and what's good and what's bad.
Brilliant. Now, if you were to go back 5 years, Trevor,
Yeah.
and whisper something to yourself as a key piece of advice about digital marketing, because we're always learning,
Yeah.
what would that piece of advice be?
What would that piece of advice be?
Wind back the time machine. You're sitting there on by yourself learning, and you come in, you're at that right moment, and just able to take it in. What would that piece of advice be?
It's going to be a Canadianism. It's going to be just give her, just go for it. I think a lot of times I'm kind of conservative by nature, but I think a lot of times you just need to take that step, and so it's not comfortable all the time, but just go for it.
Go for it.
So in Canada, that go for it, we just say give her.
Give her.
Yeah, give her hell. So just and you just keep on giving her.
Awesome. When it comes to Facebook advertising, there's obviously concerns about its effectiveness and those kind of things and how that works. What's your view of where it's going in terms of Facebook advertising now?
I think it's really interesting because Facebook advertising, it's like you hear a lot of people complaining about results and because people are leaving Facebook to go to Instagram, but there's only certain populations that are doing that. Not all the segments or demographics are fleeing Facebook for Instagram. Like older demographics haven't changed that much, so they're amazing. Like no one's targeting older people on Facebook. Like, it's just fantastically cheap and you can do it. So where is Facebook going? I think they're kind of going more to more omni-channel. I think So I think you're just trying to use all those different Facebook properties and make that happen that way and
tie them all together.
Yeah, it's just sort of understand that it's a milieu and it's not going to be one particular thing. Just go. But again, it's like even though all these little changes are happening, it's that 50-year-old thing of advice. Like you're just talking to people and you just need to make sure that your message is cutting through. So whether that's going to video or, for example, augmented reality when it shows up. How are you going to use augmented reality? You can't just have it and show it. You need to use it to communicate something.
Brilliant. If, for the people running businesses in the club, they're looking to hire, great digital marketers to escalate their business. What is it that you look for? What are those, qualities, particularly for, that I guess with Facebook, it's like you said, it's interruption style marketing. It's not the same as paid search. It's not the same as display ads. Well, I guess that's kind of the same, but it's again slightly different. What are those skills a great Facebook marketer needs, do you think?
What are the skills? I think it's
well,
being,
not necessarily skills. What are the people? What are the attitudes, the habits, the mindsets?
I think it's just somebody's got a quote about thumb stopping power and understanding what's going to stop somebody's thumb. So and a lot of that is calling out to the right audience. So if you have your copy geared to 22-year-olds in Brisbane and you can stop their thumbs, great, but that copy's not going to work for 54-year-olds in Adelaide. And understanding that you need to have a different message for different groups, and not always. I mean, like if you're going to have a 70% off sale, it's all enough said. Don't complicate it.
Yep.
But just sort of, I think, understanding what's going to resonate and what's not, and also sort of understanding why. Yeah.
Brilliant. I guess to finish up, Trevor, as well, if there was one thing you've learned from this conference, and it's that thing you wrote down, you're going to take it back. What can you share with the club members about that?
I think it's actually something that I don't know if it learned is the right way, but it's just been reinforced, and that's it's sort of like be like niche down, master something, but be aware of what's next. So like what are the things that can complement it? I'm really good at messaging, so we heard a lot of talks about decision trees, and so There's lots of sort of messenger bots, but to me that's just the medium. But the concept of getting data out of people through those asking them questions, that's what I need to work on next. So I've just sort of, okay, well this is the trend that's happening. I'm good at this thing. I can probably translate that to this thing. And so I'm never going to be an SEO expert. I'm never going to do SEM. So I'm not going to just try and force something that doesn't fit. But one of those decision trees or something like that, that's up my alley. That's communication. That's messaging. I can do that. So.
Awesome. Trevor, thanks so much for joining us in the Disruptors Club. And obviously, you're on WebSavvy, you're on LinkedIn, Twitter, good places to follow you.
Don't follow me on Twitter. If you're looking for me on Instagram, you're going to be really disappointed. I think I get a picture of my kid once every quarter. So LinkedIn is the best way to get me, which is just Trevor Henselwood.
Thanks so much for joining us in the club.
All right, thank you very much.
Awesome.